Hello. Um, my name is Heba Sarhan. I'm a research associate from Strathclyde University. I'm so glad to be sharing with you today a snapshot of learning scenario that's outside the school boundaries. So I'm sharing scenarios of learning at home and how we use the visual methods in order to engage the children with design research and mainly designing the spaces where they learned at home. So today I'll be introducing the project that I'm reporting today and how we use the visual methods, the type of visual methods that we used, some home hacks that we suggested in order to make better experience or to allow better experience of learning at home, and insights for research and education. So the project I'll be sharing with you today is called At Home with Children. And that this was a project that was led by Professor Rosie Parnell in collaboration with Dr. Sandra Costa Santos and a team of research associates from Dundee University and Newcastle University. Part of this, what we explored, this project mainly questioned how the design of the home can alleviate challenges, mainly well-being challenges that were faced during the lockdown. And I'm taking a snapshot of the findings of this research about scenarios of learning and homeschooling at home. And because all the research activities of this project were carried out during the lockdown, so the visual tools we mainly relied on visual tools and we used them virtually. So, and that was a very good opportunity or a good tool to engage children and adults with the complex concepts about design. And the aspect of complexity that we looked at was reaching or exploring the links between home life activities, spaces, and the challenges and the solutions for them as well. It wasn't that neat as the diagram. So once we started the research, it was a lot of emotional experiences, spatial, social dimensions, objects, siblings, different spaces that we relied on, or at the end, we started to build like a narrative, a spatial narrative, and mainly about one of them was homeschooling. We used the visual methods in two ways. One of them was as part of the research methods, and the other one was helping the children or empowering the children to engage in the home design. So the visual methods were applied on two stages. The first stage was part of interviews with 45 families with children and adults. And the outcome of these interviews was gaining insights about literally what happens at home. And what were the challenges, what were the main spaces, and these insights helped us to design the second stage, which was the online interviews. These were age-specific interviews that we wanted to test the solutions with the participants, the children and adults. And the outcome of this was like providing solutions that could help in supporting the well-being in the home. So the first research method was, the visual one, was using reflective booklets. And these were aimed to be like a channel to provide the children channels to reflect their experiences or how they found the space individually. These were part of the interviews, and these were a kind of interview tactic. So, in order to keep the children engaged by reflecting and drawing in these booklets, while the questions were being directed to the adults, but at the same time, we also asked them to keep the booklets with them and to reflect on aspects that they forgot during the interview or they didn't feel comfortable in sharing during the interview. And then they were shared with us via email or by post. These were age-specific booklets, so we had three categories: under 6, and then primary age school, secondary age school booklets. So, and the difference was like a level of complexity of what we were asked them to reflect on. So the younger children were asked to reflect on or to draw spaces that they liked and spaces that they didn't like in the home during the lockdown. For the older children, it was more complex, asking them to reflect on the changes that they have made in their home in order to do things that they like to do. And then the second tool was the Diamond 9 ranking. That was part of our online focus groups, and that was an age specifically designed. So this activity was around looking at spaces and then looking at the experiences of spaces and the solutions. And it was built on what we found about the important activities from the booklets. So from the booklets, we were able to pin out how the children, the interpretations of children of what the space could be. That was from their drawings, to understand the differences between the adults or their parents' reflection on space and theirs. And from that, we were able to make that distinguish between the activity that we offered for children or shared with children and the activities that were conducted with adults. So in diamond ranking, we moved from talking about the spaces, reflecting on them, and then sharing with them solutions that could be suggested from the challenges that they talked to us about. Sometimes the solutions were directly reflected during the interviews, and some of the solutions was us as the research team suggesting solutions that could be related to the challenges that they talked to us about. These solutions were first tested with the focus groups with adults. So the focus groups with adults were more abstracted. They were more related to the applicability of solutions. So they were asked about what are the objects related to solutions of space? What are the the temporal dimensions, like what time of the day, who would be using them? With the children, we talked more about the experiential dimensions of the solutions. So first, the children, as an icebreaker, we shared with them the spaces that were important for them. We got to know from the interviews that were important for them. So it was spaces like the kitchen, the spaces, living room, their bedroom, the garden, and cozy corners in the home. And then that was a kind of icebreaker because they didn't know each other. And some of them didn't know the facilitators or the researchers that were talking to them. So that was a very initial part of the discussion. And then we talked to them about the solutions. We displayed the solutions. And for example, there was what's a space partition? What does it mean to have like a portable storage unit that you can take in different spaces in your home? What would it be like? How they could use like understairs, a space understairs as a cozy corner in their homes. What does the attic mean for them? Like the different ways of looking at the attic. And what does it offer as a separated space from like the living room or their bedroom? And then we talked about, we moved to the ranking activity, and they were asked to rank these solutions in relationship to the different activities that they did in their home. And one of them was homeschooling. So the way they looked at the activities, like the different age groups, like the children, which was more about discussion, talking about the solutions and why, not really focused on the ranking itself as much as the older ones. But we got to know the importance of this was not really reaching like which one is the optimum solution and which does not, but understanding how the solution meant for them. So for example, the younger ones, having a partition was much more related, or a space partition, for example, in a bigger living room or like a bigger space in their home, was more related to them being connected to their parents, the need for support in learning, the need for support during doing their homework, but at the same time being away from distraction from a younger sibling. For an older one, having a partition was more related to having an alternative space, being aware that learning take place could be in different modes. Sometimes they need a desk, they need a structured space, but sometimes they might be an alternative, a different setting. And from there, we got to know the relationships between the solutions that we could provide in our output and how they could be related to the challenges. And we shaped a design tool, a web-based design tool. It's called Home Hacks, and where we proposed 9 scenarios related to the children activities in the home. and one of them was homeschooling. So for homeschooling, the main challenges were mainly saying, for example, I'm distracted, I can't do my homework because I'm distracted. That was spatially translated as a challenge for wanting to be separated from noise, like being in a different space. I didn't have the choice of where to work or where to do my homework, and that was translated as not having the ability or the availability of space. So, and then another one was like, I have my younger sibling distracting my parent from helping me, and I couldn't do my homework for this. Or I share my bedroom with my sibling, and I need an alternative space. So the spatial translation of these challenges helped us in finding the solutions, offering them solutions. So having an alternative space was like suggested as being able to create or regenerate a space that is existing in their homes. For example, or finding, for example, here, convert like an unused space, and that would be able to give them an opportunity to be separated from noise. Having a space or creating a space that there isn't availability enough space in the home, helping the children to do like different zones and explore the power of versatility of furniture, having a foldable table, having a movable table or a chair. What does that allow them to do? So these were all solutions for them, for the children to navigate and to build their own narrative of their homeschooling, starting from the challenges that they face to the possible solutions that they could do with their parents. And it was also meant to be a tool for parents and children to talk together and explore the spatial opportunities that they could have at the home, and also talk about the challenges that they are facing. From this, we found like to share as a concluding thoughts. The visual methods were quite powerful in helping us to engage our participants and to share cross the geographical boundaries that could be part of like the difficulties of the participatory research. But at the same time, that was challenged by not having the direct access to the children's output, because these were only transferred to us by adults. And we also faced this difficulty, and that was only explored during the pilot study, that the power, a representational power of the visuals. They helped us to shape the visual tools, like age-specific visual tools. The adults one were more abstracted. The younger ones were more related to experiential dimensions of space. But at the same time, the children were so sensitive to the sociospatial references. For example, one of the children, when we shared the image of what we were aimed to convey was the private open space in the home, and we shared the image of the garden. Not all the children had a garden in their home, but still during the focus group, all the children talked about the garden, and we knew that some of them didn't have a garden, and perhaps they had a backyard or had a balcony, but they didn't. And from that, we learned that we have to complement the visual tools with also clarifying differences that could be related to these sociocultural references. Age-specific planning, age-specific tools helped us to understand specific dimensions, emotional and social dimensions related to space. So what was meant for the parent by having like a solution as simple as having a mobile storage to keep the living room neat after having like being all together was different for a child who wanted an alternative space to study in other than the bedroom. For education, it offered a snapshot of a different environment or learning in a different or in an institution that's outside the school, where the space was created by different agencies. We saw how the shape of the dining table could affect how the learning happened. We saw how the little sibling could impact. We saw what the parent was doing during the learning, like if was the parent working, was the parent available. So these were all things that shaped how the learning happened and the learning setting at home. So thank you for hearing me today.